France, Spain, and a few others came on down by way of the jet stream and the flow, because there were no power boats and engines back then. They had wind and current only. Followed the current, or allowed the current to push them, and steered a little bit with rudder and sail to Africa, African coast, slave coast, Ivory Coast, which we had fled. Oh, not we, whoever these mystery people are, you know, which they had fled from Israel in persecution and the siege, as we just read about. They ran from the siege to get away from it. Generally, if trouble's coming from the east, you're gonna run to the west. You're gonna run away from it. If you can't fight it and defend it, you can't defend yourself. Trouble coming from the north, you're gonna go to the south. If trouble is coming upon you, a siege is coming upon you, and you know you don't stand a chance, and the chariots keep coming in, and the death and destruction keep coming in, you're gonna run away from it, not towards it. So this group of people were forced out, ran away. Were brought back into a bad time in a bad place, or in Egypt by way of ship. The slave ships that came over here. The slave ship that went down to the island, Dominican Republic and Puerto Rico, Jamaica. On and on and on, you get the picture. Them ships that came here to Charlotte, came here to Mobile, came here to New Orleans, North Carolina, South Carolina, Virginia. Those ships, those slave ships that came here. I don't know, looking at me, look like my people probably came here on them ships. My people probably fled from over there. You're not going to be in that land any longer, this told us. You would be dispossessed of that land. I don't know. Maybe I fit that description, maybe not. Or maybe he fits it better than me. I don't know. Take a look. Does he fit it better? The book says you would be dispossessed of it. Not over there launching bombs and missiles and rockets and killing up people for the last year and a half, nearly 2 years. What is his lineage? What ancestors of his can be traced back to the ancient or more recent in the last 160 years or so? What ancestors of his can be traced to a lineage of slavery? I'm confused. Please help me understand. What ancestors of his can be traced back to a known, worldwide, documented, highly agreed upon history of being enslaved anywhere in this world at any given time? What ancestors of his? I don't know. Let me see if I can find some of his people. They look like him? He look like them? I don't know. Maybe it's time for me to get my eyes checked. Do they look like him, or does he look like them? Or do they look like me? Do they look like some of you watching? Do they look like me, or do they look like you? According to this, they were enslaved multiple times, and if they didn't keep the commandments, they were going back into it yet another time. That hadn't happened yet. Slavery here in America in particular, and England too. Remember, it didn't start here. It was started in England. Yes, a lot of you may not know that. It was started in merry old England by a gentleman by the name of, guess who? King James. Same one who revised this book. New King James Version. For those of you who didn't know that, it's more unraveling, more unravelation. Go do your research. They had slaves in England already. What is this nonsense you speak of, Brother Yasin? They had slaves, people who kind of look like me, not like him. They didn't have slaves that looked like that in England in the 1600s. In the 1600s, they had this melanated over there. Well, how you know that? Well, just like they had them here in America, and I'm still here, we still here. My great-great-great-great-great-great-grandpappy and grandmammy probably was, okay? They had it over there. That's why, where Idris come from. Fair use Idris Elba, just to name one that's nearly a household name, one that all of y'all familiar with. How did he get there? Scattered throughout the world. His ancestors were enslaved over there first. England didn't have the climate, the actual climate to grow crops well. They too far north. It's too cold up there. It's colder there than it is here, per se, other than your New England states here, other than the northern part of North America, other than the northern part of the United States, which is about laterally even with them. But what I'm saying is, slavery was where? In the South. Slavery was where? Primarily in the southern states, where it's warmer, where it's hotter. It's July, it's 93 degrees here. Now, plenty of rain. Louisiana, where crops grow, where crops flourish. King James and others, they tried it over there in England. They came here to the New World, new to them, not new to the people who was already here. They came here and established it here and built this land and built cities and structures here by way of slavery, built an economy here by way of slavery. Some of you just celebrated the 4th of July. July. Replace the J with a Y, like it's supposed to be anyway. Go beyond the history of when, where, and how, and why this country was started. Go beyond that, beyond 1776, dig a little further. 1619, the first slave ship here in America. Which, by the name was the good ship Jesus. Go look it up. Yeah, that name you love to call on. No J in Hebrew. Which 400 years later, in 2019, the man we all love to hate, Trump, signed a declaration commemorating the end of 400 years of the atrocities of slavery. See, a lot of y'all think that slavery was abolished in America. Wasn't abolished. Slavery, some of you know, some of this is news to you, some of you gonna think I'm crazy. Slavery never ended in America. Slavery is still alive in America. Slavery is still legal in America. Kind of haphazardly, loosely speaking, there's a lot of controversy about it in the news today in a way. Slavery is still legal in America, and I'm gonna prove it to you. You look up the 13th Amendment and you read it for yourself. What does it outline in detail concerning slavery in America? I'll give you a little spoiler. Constitution of the United States, 13th Amendment. Neither slavery nor involuntary servitude except as punishment for a crime whereof the party shall have been duly convicted shall exist within the United States or any place subject to their jurisdiction. Neither slavery nor involuntary servitude except as punishment for a crime whereof the party shall have been duly convicted shall exist in the United States. It said except. So that being slavery is still legal. Oh man, get out of here. Okay. Okay. If you get convicted of a crime in the United States, especially here in Louisiana, which is still, last I know of, the only state in America that allows hard labor for people incarcerated in state prisons, in state institutions. It allows labor, hard labor for those people. Hard meaning you're gonna do that by hand. You're gonna pick that by hand. You're gonna use shovels and rakes and garden hoes and things of that nature. That's what it means, manual labor. Hard labor by state definition here in Louisiana means manual labor. It means you're not doing it with a machine, you're doing it by hand. My first job out of the military, as most of you know, I was in the military. My first job out of the military was in Louisiana, working for the State Department of Corrections about 2 months after I got out of the Army. Working for the state of Louisiana, Department of Corrections. And I trained for 2 weeks and lived for 2 weeks at Angola State Penitentiary. I had went there years ago as a field trip in school, but as an adult, I worked there. First job out of the military. Trained there, and I worked at another state institution as required back then. Probably the same thing now, but back then it's required that you went to Angola for your initial training. So I got to live on premises, train, interact with inmates, this, that, and other. And then I went on to work for several months for Louisiana Department of Corrections in a correctional facility. They grow, Angola in particular, grow and produce majority of their own food. When you see it on TV, it's not a joke. I know some of y'all been to the rodeos and whatnot over there, and you've kind of seen it a little bit. Some of you may have loved ones there. My condolences. This is the reality. That's not a scene from a movie. Been there, done that. Brother Yasin, been there, done that. I wasn't in the prison blues. I was in the uniform. I was a corrections officer. I wasn't on horseback, I was inside the facility. This is the picture of life inside of there. And when I say that's the picture in color of the life inside of there. Skin color included. Just like you see on here, this is not altered. This is not AI. This is not something that I modified. No, That's exactly what it looks like. That's reality. Probably, just my rough estimation, 95 to 98% of persons incarcerated there are brown people, are black Americans, African American. So when it tells you that you'll be sent back to Egypt in ships, sent back to slavery, you will be enslaved. Slavery in Egypt had already happened. Slavery in Egypt didn't happen again to anybody else. Slavery happened in England, small scale. It's happened in America, large scale. Okay? And this was the most notorious slavery known to man worldwide in history. Right here in America, right here in Louisiana, to a particular demographic of people. So, back to the title of this message, this study. Who is this? Who is this people? And you think slavery is done away with? You think slavery is illegal in the U.S.? Look up the 13th Amendment, read it slow and with understanding. Okay? It clearly states slavery is abolished except for punishment of a crime which a person has been duly convicted of. Young or old, but especially to my young brothers out there, young people out there of all demographics and races, put that trouble down, put that crime down, put them guns down. You don't want to go in there. There's no privacy. There's no partitions in the shower. There's no partitions in the toilet. There's no partitions on the bunks. You don't watch TV when you want and how you want. You sharing TV most of the time with anywhere from 40 to 60 other men. And what gets watched on that TV, when you're not out in the field working Monday through Friday, what gets watched on that TV gets voted on. I'm telling you what I witnessed and worked under. We know sports come on the weekend. Football, basketball, the TV room, shared by anywhere from 40 to 60 men. If you want to watch the Saints and the Eagles, and meanwhile, the Falcons and the 49ers are playing, it gets voted on. Majority rules. That's what the TV gets set on. It's no way to live. You're gonna work for 7 cents an hour, literally. All of your belongings are gonna be in a foot locker at the foot of your bed. Everything you own within the walls of that institution is gonna be in a foot locker with a padlock combination master lock on it. Your mattress is gonna be made out of outside shell vinyl, inside cushion, recycled shredded paper. It ain't comfortable. You will be separated from life as you know it. There's a lot of other graphic details I'm not gonna get into. You can get the picture. It's all male institutions and it's all female institutions. Male with male, female with female. I was in a male institution as a correction officer. Some fellas incarcerated decide to improvise since there are no females. Read between the lines. Some fellas are forced by other fellas who want to improvise. Read between the lines. You may not want to improvise, but you may get beaten into improvisation. Stay away from that. It's miserable. It's an agonizing place. It's the boils and the sores of Egypt. It's bondage. It's free labor. The state is profiteering off of you and your labor. That's how it works. That's how it's set up. The politicians in the state are profiteering off of you from free labor. I'm telling you what I know. I'm telling you what I saw. Because they have businesses outside of the system. They have associates with businesses outside of the system who profiteer off the labor from within the system, who profiteer off the products which are produced within the prison. And why they paying you 7 cents an hour? They collecting y'all knows how much money off of your free labor, off of your 7 cent an hour labor. So take your little 7 cents, go on down to the commissary, get you a couple pack of noodles, some soup, and if you smoke, some bugles, and that's life. And even if you don't smoke, you can trade the cigarettes, you can trade the tobacco. I think they're going smokeless now though. I think it's tobacco free now, but back in the day when I was there, it was, yeah, tobacco was like money. So that's today's message. Who are these people? And what did my last little rant have to do with it? Everything. What was the question? Who are these people? See, because none of them in that line and with them shovels, none of them incarcerated, none of them, although there are a few in there, the vast majority of them don't look like him. Less than 5% of the people inside of Angola probably look like him. Most of the people as documented here in these pictures, indentured servants under the 13th Amendment, indentured slaves, legal today in 2025. You see what they look like. That's the significance of what it got to do with this. Slavery didn't stop. They just gave it stipulations. And if you're not careful, they'll get you. If I'm not careful, they'll get me. So, who are these people? I don't know. Look at the pictures. Is it the guy that's over there now? Is it him? Who are these people? I hope you learned something. Happy to share it with you today. Go back and study and verify this stuff if you didn't follow along as we went. Hope to bring you other messages very soon. Shalom.